Welcome back to your Mosaic Minute in the Mud. I am your host, Corvus, and thank the mud gods, this will be the last time you hear me say, "Have I got news for you?" We are just days away from heading out to reclaim for this year's Mosaic Experiment 2024 Lost and Found, and holy shit, I'm excited to see you all. Now, that being said, we're going to go through a few things that you need to remember in order to prep for GATE this year. First of all,
Hey, 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 hey!
holy mackerel. I didn't see you there, Squeezie. Have you been there the whole time?
Maybe. You'll never know.
But folks, who better to tell us how to prep for GATE than our very own GATE lead, Squeezie? Give it up for Squeezie, everybody. So, Squeezie, I'm driving up to Macumber Road on my way to Mosaic. I turn into the driveway to reclaim, and I head on up the hill and reach GATE. What do I need to have on my person in order to be a verified ticketed participant and get a wristband?
Well, first you actually have to have a ticket. So, probably make sure that you actually purchased one.
Makes
Um,
sense.
all tickets are will call. So we already have your name if you're ticketed, which means that now all we need is your legal ID. Driver's license, passport, anything along those lines. If the government recognizes it, so do we. Um, Other than that, that's about all you need. Food, water, but that's not my problem. That's yours.
And those wristbands go on which arm?
You're right. We won't put it on your left.
Okay.
Don't. It's not worth asking. It really isn't.
Okay. Now, what do I need to make sure I leave at default home and not have stashed anywhere on my person or in my vehicle?
So we have a ban against firewood. We actually supply firewood for you guys. Don't need to worry about that. Fireworks are a big no-no. That includes sparklers. They are fireworks. You cannot bring any pets and you cannot bring any firearms. If you bring a pet and a firearm, you will be asked to turn around and go return them back to your actual default domicile.
Okay. So, firewood, fireworks, pets, and firearms.
Correct.
No nos. All right. Well, I mean, that sounds simple enough. It seems kind of hard to mess that up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else you'd like to tell the folks that are going to be coming up to gate this year of what they need, what they don't need? Any other tips or guidance you'd like to give the folks at home?
Not really, just be patient. I should give you guys a heads up. Gate is actually moving closer to McCumber Road this year. So you will be stopped by us sooner than what you think. If you guys are arriving late, if you can give Gate an email ahead time schedule, be good to know so we can work with you. We do not have service on site, so it's gonna like once us gate leads are there on Tuesday, the likelihood of us ever responding to your email is next to nothing. So sooner is better than later. And if you do actually come after gate is closed, we will have a late arrival parking lot that you can camp in. On the other side of gate, do not block Gate Road. Um, Other than that, that's it. Don't come past gate if you haven't been checked in by any of us gate people and you have a wristband on your right hand. That's about it.
Squeezy? Squeezy, I'm losing you. Squeeze. Squeezy! Great. I lost Squeezy.
Hey, but you found someone.
Hey, look, everyone. I found our new Fire and Conclave Lead 5. Yeah, I don't know how you got here, but this is great timing because I'd like to ask you about this burn ban in Ohio and how it affects this year's Mosaic. But before we get into that, I mean, I'd like to formally welcome you to the team, and I really got to know what's up with the name 5?
My partner gave me the name. Evidently, I make a lot of fart jokes. I also fart a lot. I laugh about it, giggle it. One day, she just looks at me and goes, You are this many. You are absolutely this many. And so if I meet you, I'm not going to introduce myself as five. I'm going to meet you and say, I am this many.
Nice, nice. Now, okay, I read the official announcement regarding the burn ban in Ohio that I literally posted everywhere and sent out in the newsletter. But for those that haven't been checking their feeds or emails, how do folks coming to the event prep for that?
Um, I mean, you've got to come up with your own with a different way of cooking, and you've got to come up with a different way of keeping warm. Um, and in general, the way everything's written is that anything wood burning is banned. Any kind of fire pits are banned. Any kind of we're limited to propane cooking devices or electric cooking devices, and that's it.
Okay.
Propane or electric. Um, so and putting a enclosing and putting a chimney on your wood stove does not make it acceptable. Um, Taking your propane fire pit and sticking a frying pan on it, not that does not make it a cooking apparatus. A propane stove is acceptable. An electric thing that you plug in to cook on is acceptable, but and even you can use propane grills are acceptable. A propane powered cooking device. Um, the other caveats in with the burn ban is um, the big required things. And I know we don't, we as burners don't like having to abide by rules, but guess what? There's rules sometimes. Um, try to keep your wood stove, I mean your cooking stove sort of in between two legs, keep it a few feet away from anything burnable. You Every kitchen is required to have a fire extinguisher in it. And at the same time, we highly recommend burn blanket. If you have a fire blanket, keep that in your kitchen. If you have a one of those little pump water sprayers, those are fantastic. Wet the ground underneath your stove before you start cooking. Those are fantastic. That'll really increase the amount of safety that's going on. Um, I don't there's sort of a gray area if you're laying a blanket on the ground around your stove, if you're cooking anything greasy, because if you grease splatters on your blanket, guess what? Now your fire blanket's a wick.
Yeah, that's not
So
good.
right. So that's something to be mindful of. I mean, yeah, you can do that if you're not cooking bacon. But let's be honest, and if you're not vegan, you're probably cooking bacon at some point. Um, so that those are some things to keep in mind. Generally, don't be dumb. You like we all have some amount of sense. Most of us, I think, at least half of us. If you see someone doing something dumb, say something. If you see something kind of looking a little off, say something. Um, and a lot of times there have been a lot of burns I've seen people just see someone doing something stupid and you're like, oh, I'm going to watch them play this out and see how bad it turns out because it's funny. No, don't do that. um and if we accidentally start a major fire here, we're done at this property, and
Yeah.
we're this event is done. Like
I mean that
it's really
affects,
important.
not just us there at the event, but it affects, the landowner, it affects the community in that area. Uh, Yeah, don't be dumb, people.
Right. um Pump sprayers are a great idea, but wet the ground underneath your stove, and that will absolutely help a lot of things. The other thing to keep in mind is that if you're running a generator, be mindful about grass around the generator. Sort of like stomp the grass down, make it as flat as possible. Exhaust gets hot. Um, you're still dealing with gasoline, which is really flammable. But be mindful about all that. Don't overfill your generators. A lot of people will fill a generator until it's pouring gas over the side. Oh, it's full now. Crank. Yeah. Be a little more careful. Um, and in general, this is a be a little more careful burn.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, so most likely, we're not going to be able to actually burn the effigy this year. I mean, y'all know that already. Uh, But what's conclave going to look like?
All right, so when without an effigy, here's the thing: is that the conclave is so much more important now without the effigy. We are the show. We are the climax of the event. Um, there, the conclave is in its absolute dire importance that we get as many people involved in the conclave as possible. Even if you're even if you're just starting off as a flow artist, now and think, hey, maybe one day I'll be in a conclave. Well, now's your time because we're not on fire. Um, you know, this is your moment. This is your introduction. Um, we are absolutely the show, and to have as much participation in this as possible is absolutely important. I cannot drive that forward enough. Um, as far as the differences between a glow conclave versus a fire conclave, I want to touch on that. Um, there's to, to make sure y'all know, I've been doing conclaves since I think 2012 was my first conclave. So I've been doing this a minute. Um, when it comes to a glow conclave, um, a lot of the rules are a little laxer. So if you want to have a couple cocktails before conclave, if it's a fire conclave, I'm actually absolutely going to kick your ass out. But you
Yeah.
can do that with a glow conclave because there's no fire. Um, you can absolutely show up and do tricks that you're not 100% comfortable with because it's glow and you don't have to worry about setting people on fire. Still be mindful and not hit the audience with your props though,
I mean,
which
you
I
don't
have
want to
seen.
show
It's
up to it completely stumbling drunk, falling over, flinging your props everywhere.
right.
But, you can be relaxed. You can do things you normally wouldn't do with fire props. And
Exactly.
with all the lights and colors from glow props, I mean, it's going to look even cooler, in my opinion.
It can, and it absolutely can. And but that doesn't depend on me. That depends on the participation of all of you. And I cannot drive that home enough. We need as many flow artists as possible to come join us on this adventure. Um, so when a lot of you are thinking, oh, but all I have are fire props because glow props are really expensive. A glow prop usually typically costs two, sometimes three times as much as a fire prop. Well, here's a rub: is that you can turn a fire prop into a glow prop pretty easily and very cheaply. I have an example.
Okay, well, yeah, let's see that.
So, fairy lights and baby socks. And I've taken my Helio Dragon staff, run the string of lights from baby sock to baby sock, and that's it. And now this is a glow prop. And this is going to look pretty impressive in the dark.
Definitely.
Um, and the standard wick cover for a contact staff is just a bottle koozie. Attach fairy lights to this. And you know, oh, attaching fairy lights. I don't like to sew. Well, guess what? I don't like to sew either. I used a stapler. Um, and it can be as simple as stapling fairy lights to baby socks on your wick covers, and that's it. And suddenly you have a glow prop, and uh, fairy lights come in all different shapes or all different colors. Be inventive with it. Go nuts with it. And that's
Yeah.
you can go a lot of different directions with it. And you can do the same thing I did with my dragon staff. You can do with fans. Just run strip to strip to strip to strip, attach it to your wick covers. Use Danger Will Robinson. Do not try to staple fairy lights directly onto your wicks. Staples will go flying off. It gets moopy, and now you're also flinging lights everywhere, and you're gonna hit someone. You're gonna poke someone's eye out. Um, that's sort of the basics of the bare minimum that you can do to turn your own fire props into a glow prop, and now we can have a conclave.
Nice.
um please, I'm begging the community, come join us.
Yes. Yes, please. I mean, it sounds like everybody is going to need to work together this year, creatively and cooperatively. but I'm sure that our community is up to the challenge for making this the best Mosaic experiment yet, regardless of the burn ban. Well, I definitely appreciate you being on here with us today, Five, and I'm sure all the folks at home are glad to get all this info from you right before the event, so it's fresh in their minds before they go to start packing and they don't forget anything. Now, is there anything else you'd like to add? Like, do you have any kind of I know there was like the conclave safety, fire safety meetings. How is that going to change?
So in the WW, we've got daily meetings for on Thursday, Friday, and Thursday, Friday night evenings, and then Saturday afternoon. Um, what we're going to be doing differently with that, those meetings will still stand. I will still be present for those meetings, but the tone of that meeting will be a little different. If you show up with fairy lights and baby socks that fit your wicks, guess what? We're going to have a crafting day, and we're going to play around with how can we turn your fire prop into a glow prop. And it's as simple as going somewhere and getting baby socks that fit your wicks. I will have a small I'm not bringing my good stapler with me. I'll bring a little small one. Some of you may know the joke, but I know if I bring this, someone's going to steal it.
So what days are the fire safety / crafting meetings going to be? When is that? I know it's going to be in the WWW, but just ahead of time so people know.
Thursday, Friday at 6 p.m.
Okay.
I was originally slated for a 30-minute fire safety presentation. And then Saturday at I think 4. I think that's right. Initially Saturday was slated 3 p.m. for perimeter training, which is probably going to be canceled. And then I slated like either 3:30 or 4 for a meeting at the effigy for our pre-conclave meeting. And if fire was allowed, you'd be getting wristbands at these things, but hey, now I don't have to bring the wristbands. So in lieu of that, if we meet up at any of those designated times, this will turn into a crafting activity. The Thursday night and Friday night meetings will be at Camp Pretty Lights. That is my camp. And the Saturday one is meet at the effigy. If you plan on being at Conclave, please meet at the effigy at 4:00, because that's where we're also going to be discussing curtain call and how we're going to be doing the parade around the effigy, stuff like that, the actual process of the whole being in a conclave. And yeah, that's about it. If you want to be in the conclave at all, whether you have glow props or not, come Saturday at 4:00 or 3:30. 3:30 or 4. Double check the WW. I can't remember what time I put down for that. And if you wanted a crafting day of, hey, let's turn my fire prop into a glow prop, I'll be there for you Thursday and Friday night as well. That's all I got.
Again, thank you so much for coming on the show and introducing yourself to the community as our new Fire and Conclave Lead. That was some much needed info all the folks coming this year needed to know. Speaking of things you need to know, the WWW and the map have both been published, so visit www.mosaicexperiment.com or check the links in the description to see those now. Now, last but not least, I'd like to end this season of your Mosaic Minute of the Mud by reminding you all, before you arrive on site, please read both of them.
There is a guide on our website, with its truths held aloft,
I'm sorry,
and its answers in writing.
why are you back?
There is a fact that you can cite,
No,
and it isn't too long,
no, we are not doing this.
albeit not too exciting.
Do we have to do this?
There is a guide. Now here comes our song.
I am really sorry, everyone. This is gonna be bad. We wrote a fucking survival guide. That's not even your register. In the hopes that you would read it. We wrote a guide to get you by. Is that pitch shifted? And a fact with facts worth giving. Then all the answers were displayed. Really? From prior guides, we copied, pasted. There were some updates that we made. Yeah, I'm sorry. No questions skipped. All clearly stated.
But if you neglect to read the guide,
What the hell are you doing?
You'll be met with Squeezie's thunder.
As they tear.
Oh, come on. Now you're just pulling it directly from my biz.
As they turn your dream to shame.
You had all summer to read the guide. We filled its pages with info wonder. We noted your questions and replies, so you would know when that reclaim. Alright, might as well just join them, right? And still we hope our guide you'll see that you will read it all together. For there are things for guide you'll need. There are steps to prep for weather. We wrote a guide for you to read. And this year we won't be so forgiving, but there is time to be redeemed. If you read the fact and guide. Read the fucking survival guide.